Welcome, everybody. We have a very fabulous guest with us tonight. Let me present this wonderful individual. My cat, Odin. And joined on our left, we also have my wife, Jenny.
I feel like really undercut there.
How can you follow Odin? You know?
I know. I feel really lame now because Odin is a beautiful cat.
He did have a grand entrance, didn't he?
I do love him. Look at that little thing.
He's being shy for some reason. It's okay. They're not going to... He has no clue what's happening. He doesn't know we're recording and capturing him forever. Aww. And then, of course, as always, we are joined by Alex.
Hello.
Thank you for the introduction. Everybody knows who these people are, but for whatever reason, I'm feeling the spirit of change in the air, and I wanted to reintroduce some of our old familiar crew.
And Ryan's here, too.
Yes, yours truly. The same familiar crew that you guys saw last week and already know who they are. So we want to...
I was in the room during the last episode. I just wasn't.
We didn't show you on it?
No, you didn't.
I
was just here smiling.
Yeah. That is true.
Listening in.
I thought we showed you on the episode. We just talked about you. Well, it's been a while since this event actually happened, about 4 weeks. But because of the nature of my travel schedule, with Alex's travel schedule going to Europe, with Jenny's family coming from Europe and staying with us for a while. If you guys saw, it was a couple full disclosures back. At this point of airing, it'll probably be like 3 or 4 full disclosures back. We had one of Jenny's German cousins on with us, which was super fun. He got to tell some stories about skywatching. Because of all that crazy scheduling, it's been like not until tonight that we've had the time to sit down and talk about Psi Games. Plus, we had a guest book. There's just a number of reasons. But I thought it was very important to talk about. There were some profound things that happened. It was an amazing event. Alex couldn't be there, unfortunately, but I don't know. I mean, where should we begin?
Well, I feel like we should begin just by giving a nice little shout out to Hakim Isler.
Yeah.
He put on this event. We talked about it during his episode, and I think it was just very sweet to see him out there do his thing. The first time I'd ever met Hakim was at a birthday party at Chris Jr.'s house, and I met him as a friend of the family, not knowing that he had all of this insane background and knew all of the who's who and all of that fun stuff, which we'll get into later. But it was just really nice to see him do his thing. And I was thinking to myself, it's like if somebody's planning a literal 3-day wedding and more is what he accomplished. And he did a lot of it with a great team, but a lot of it came directly from him. And I think it was just a very cool thing to watch. And I will also say, too, that I think that we've known about the Psi Games for over a year now because he was in Ryan's Creator Gateway at the Monroe Institute, where he kind of introduced this idea to everyone and said, hey, all of my fellow Monroe Institute creators, would you like to be part of this and be a commentator within the event? To which I think all of them said yes, if they had the availability.
Asked.
Yeah.
The ones he asked, yeah.
And so Ryan was also a commentator at this event and was part of the event, which was very special for me to sort of watch him shine and do his thing and do what he does best, which is talk about the things that he loves. And so that was a really neat perspective.
I keep finding this trend where I'm really nervous about certain things like public speaking engagements and stuff like that. And I beat myself up in my head over and over and over about every which way that it's going to go wrong. And then when it comes time to get to it, I just nail it. And that was one of those things where I was so nervous to get up on a stage in a live audience in front of 400 or 500 people at a time and just kind of riff it with no script and talk about some things that I really didn't know that much about. And it was really fun. It's not about that, but I had a few people come up to me and be like, I really enjoyed your commentary. I really liked what you had to say. And I was like, oh, thank you. And it made me think, yeah, that was actually really fun. So I appreciated that opportunity. Like you said, Hakim put together an amazing event. And you brought up the Monroe Institute. I just realized this is synchronistic timing. And it's the perfect time to mention that I am officially a Monroe Institute trainer.
Yay! He did it! He did it! The crowd goes wild.
Yeah, I'm going wild.
Alex hasn't said a peep. He doesn't care.
I'm going wild. I went into my subconscious mind wild.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
As a guinea pig.
Alex and Jenny were guinea pigs.
I'm a huge part of Ryan getting his certificate.
Yeah.
It's true.
Thank you, Alex. You played a huge part in that.
It's true. He gave up his birthday weekend to be in my
true.
first retreat, and that means something.
Yeah. He's somewhere in his mid-20s. I never remember, but he
You talking about me?
Yeah, he spent one part of his mid-20s getting started in his own brain, exploring his consciousness. Good for him.
So your birthday was Thursday, and then we started the retreat Saturday. So that was really cool. And I think I had pitched that to you guys in like April.
Yeah.
Or maybe May, when I got the timing on when I was like authorized to do it. And then I was like, oh, I know it's your birthday weekend. You're like, I don't care. And you committed all the way back. So that was really cool, and I appreciate that.
Well, I thought it was a great way to ring in the Saturn return.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so
I'm
too.
stoked.
27 people.
Yeah. That was a hint for Jenny to figure out
Thank you.
how old I am.
That was a big year for me. I can't imagine what's coming for you.
I have an idea.
I kind of do too.
Yeah, just a few months, I think we'll all know. I think we'll all know. I got married at 27.
That's beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be helpful for the listeners to know Ryan was talking about his commentary, and they're like, what was he commentating on?
Good point.
And I do think it would be good to kind of talk through a little bit of like the structure of what this was and why it was such a monumental event, because not only was it a conference where, you know, experts from a little bit of everywhere came to speak, like Tom Campbell, which he's part of the Monroe Institute. He was. Okay, he was. He was the speaker there. Some past guests on our show, you know, Amy Westmoreland, who is a manifesting coach. We had Chris Ramsey was there to talk about kind of the different kinds of magic that there are and how that kind of plays in with the mind. And there were several speakers, but the coolest part of the entire event, which was Saturday, was it was a full day of, I think, 5 different kinds of games that tested a variety of people's psychic abilities. And these were people that maybe just kind of learned that they were psychic. There was some people that were there testing their skills, and they're like, nope, I mean, I literally just picked this up and I'm just trying. And then there were some people that are kind of iconic in this space and had experience, and they were all competing together on, you know, kind of a level set playing field. And it was really interesting to see, because nothing like this has ever been done before, right? I believe.
No.
And so there was a set of judges for each game, which had a level of experts. I mean, Ryan, you would know the names better than I do.
I didn't know other names.
Paul Smith was one of them. Alan Steinfeld was one of them.
Obviously Tom Campbell, Diane Hennessy Powell.
Diane Hennessy Powell from the telepathy tapes.
Alan Evans, the CEO of the Monroe Institute. And there was a few I just didn't know.
Right. So there were a lot of different judges.
And some others I did know.
Yeah, exactly. So on one hand, you'd have the judge where, you know, after they would perform the specific game, which Hakim came up with all in his own brain, which is phenomenal. I don't know how he did it. They would judge, but in the middle of that, there would be commentating. So it's like you're literally watching like an intense, I don't know, soccer, I don't know, sports. Just imagine a sports commentator. And Ryan was one of those. So while these people were performing these psychic games, there were commentators also just kind of giving a little bit of information about what they were doing and that sort of thing. And that was Ryan's role, and it was really entertaining.
Yeah, it was really cool. So with 5 different games in mind, they rotated the commentators. So I got to participate in dowsing and in mindsight, which is, I'm really fascinated in mindsight. And that's
what are those things?
I'm getting there. Actually, I was about to get there. So I was being
a commentator.
So let's get there. So mindsight, it's something that admittedly I don't know that much about, at least beforehand. I just knew it was real because I saw a demonstration by Dahlia, who I'm going to talk more about later. That deserves its own spot. But yeah, I saw a demonstration by her in California back at the Contact in the Desert conference, and she just kind of came up to our table, had a blindfold on, and just started like reading debit cards and reading name tags and reading labels and stuff like that, triple blindfolded, and we were all like, whoa, we were blown away. One of her daughters is on the telepathy tapes, which is the documentary that's upcoming. So she kind of already had a connection to this world, and my take on this is because of her daughter, she was blown away and like decided to dive into it on her own, and then her abilities just exploded because she's definitely next level. It's insane what she can do. And then I got into dowsing as a commentator, which is something that I practice very regularly and like pretty often. I guess those are the same thing, regularly and pretty often. But it's the idea that you're tapping into your internal guidance to find answers about something in the future or in the present. You're like, and I'm sorry, I'm short of breath. I was just doing burpees today. I feel like I'm gasping for air here.
I think it maybe is more so that we just finished a really heavy meal from
I think it's definitely the burpees.
You really think so?
Yeah.
When was your last burpee?
Throughout the day.
Oh.
Just doing them throughout the day.
Should I be worried?
No. I just feel like I'm like,
okay.
I feel like I'm gasping for air more than usual.
Uh-oh.
But anyway, back to what I was saying. So, yeah, it's like dowsing is really cool because you can do it with pendulums. You can do it with your hands through sensing energy. You can do it through dowsing rods.
Shout out Megan.
Shout out Megan. Yes, Megan Solar Glow. Although she was not there, she is a lovely human being who was on our show. And we got to hang out with her at the Wisconsin conference.
Yes.
The Contact Modalities Conference. Shout out to Mel. Actually, that's interesting too, because even though this isn't going to be focused on that, I wanted to make a slight mention of this. My dad was just with her last week at a conference. Not a conference, it's more like a retreat. Somewhere in Wisconsin at this resort that she owns with a group of like 35 people, and they had some of the most mind-blowing skywatches of our entire career of doing this. So like at every point there would be 15 to 18 orbs in the sky at a time.
Different speeds, different directions.
Yeah. Every night they saw like 300 orbs. Every night. I'm going to send you a video real quick, if you don't mind, Alex. I'm going to just text it to you real quick. It's the 4-second one. Maybe you could drop this in there. I don't even care when it is. Just
right here. How's that?
Perfect. Yep.
Great.
I hope I sent that to the right people. Yes, I did. I sent it to Alex. So maybe you could just kind of drop that little 4-second in there. You can cut the sound, whatever. But like that's just a taste of what people were experiencing every night in Wisconsin, and it was insane. There's a huge shift happening, and I really want to get into the Skywatch at the Psi Games later because it was utterly insane. So anyway.
I think the fact that there is an event like the Psi Games, and this was brought up several times throughout the event as well, is the fact that this event is even happening goes to show that there is a major shift that's happening.
Right.
In some sort of way. The fact that like this is becoming, I mean, it's not mainstream, but that there's an event dedicated to something like this. I feel like that's something that, 50 years ago, nobody was, well, I mean, the 70s were pretty poppin', I've heard, but
10,
like
20 years ago,
people weren't thinking about these things, and now suddenly people are thinking about these things and are very interested in them. So people gather all the time to do like spiritual stuff or psychic stuff. You have all these kooky UFO groups. You have this stuff pretty regularly. I think what makes the Psi Games so different is it's credible. It's based on things that are proven and actually work, because Hakim has a very good sense of cutting through the BS and getting to like real stuff. I think that the vast majority of people that I interacted with there, like professionally, that were there, not just people showing up, but the people that were a part of the event, the vast majority of them, and I say that only because I didn't meet everybody, they were so credible. They were not weird, not like, ooh, you know what I mean? They were like pretty, hey,
this is what I got. And it's like, it's sound. And, you had the Vibravision guys. They were very cool. You had Mindsight. You had the Monroe Institute. You had a bunch of individual competitors. I noticed that some of the competitors were Qigong practitioners, and they were doing techniques like that for the telekinesis and for the dowsing and things like that. So it's like you had a lot of people that are into things that work. It wasn't like, some conferences you go to where people are walking around in sparkly lizard outfits saying that they're a glamtillion. It was, and that was a fun conference. I'm not knocking the conference. I'm just saying people. I'm just saying the people that Hakim picked were very cool people. I think that he has a sense of, this person's cool, this person's cool. He's like collecting all these really cool, credible people and bringing them together.
And I want to say too, like, for example, I just want people to know what it was, because it's so unheard of. So, for example, for the dowsing session, there were people that are more comfortable with dowsing with a pendulum and people that were more comfortable with dowsing with their hands.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the session where they were dowsing for a particular material underneath a
wooden block.
Underneath a wooden block. So, for example, there would be, I think, 5 or 6 competitors at a time?
Something like that.
And Hakim would say, okay, you, player A, there was a name, I want you to douse for the gold. I want you to douse for the copper. And what they would do is go up to it, do whatever they need to do to kind of feel for this object, and they would do whatever they believed or whatever they were drawn to as copper or gold or silver, whatever the material was. And sure, there were some that were successful and some that were not, which is what made this a game. And then for Mindsight, for example, the competition was, again, having 6 or so people sitting at a table blindfolded, and they would have this sort of block arrangement where they would have to put these colorful rings all within
pegboards.
Yeah, all within the same color. So they'd have to stack the oranges with the oranges, stack the reds with the reds, stack this with this. And again, different levels of success.
But that added to the credibility too.
It was so cool. And it was so cool to see what their methods were too, because there were some people that kind of used like touch. There were some people that you could tell were interpreting things very differently. And it was just really cool to kind of see what they were doing. And then, of course, Dahlia, which I didn't know if you wanted to jump into it yet.
Yeah, we can.
But Ryan was commentating for Mindsight, of course, which is what we were talking about. And she did the pegboard thing and blew the entire audience out of the water because she was 100% correct, where she stacked 6 different colors with the correct pegs. It was like six purples, and then think of that 6 different colors all on top of each other. And it was perfect and flawless, and she did it so quickly. And with her blindfold on, it was so funny. She got done and she just like kind of crossed her fingers, and the whole entire crowd was going wild, and you could tell that this girl knew she nailed it.
Yeah, everyone was screaming. It was nuts. People, like me and the other commentators, we were like taking pictures and filming. It was insane. But before we go more, because I want to talk more about her later, let's walk it back. So there were 5 games. And that's the other reason I was saying earlier that I think like part of the reason the event was so good was because he was picking cool people. And then the other reason I think it was so good was because it's the first time that anyone really came together with the purpose of like just assuming that this stuff is all real. Nobody's really trying to like convince anyone of anything. It's just like a competition. I kind of like that element. And somebody could say competition loses the true spirit of it, but not really, because Hakim is a martial arts instructor. He's ex-military. I think for his mind, this was fleshed out very well because he's very organized. He's very professional. He's very, he comes from a line of work that's very, I don't know the right word, like active, martial sort of, because like it's like combat is sort of a competition inherently, and
he was on like Survivor and all of these reality TV shows.
True competition TV shows.
Yeah
I think competition kind of drives that will to be better. because without that competition. But it also kind of strikes me, and granted, I wasn't there. It seems to me that this is one of those things, though, where you're more competing with yourself, and it's less about person versus person and more about like, I want to do better than I did yesterday with sports like golf or swimming, where you're, just scratching a scorecard or fighting a clock. You know what I mean? And correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of seems like, so it's not like I'm going to beat the crap out of the other person. It's like, I'm going to do the best I absolutely can.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yeah, and the idea of the competition was, and he said this to me not only privately but also over and over publicly, was that when you think of the record for the mile, that
I love this story.
And I don't know the story, so why don't you go ahead and tell the story?
Well, it's been a while since I said it, but essentially at some point, what is it? The 7-minute mile was impossible.
Yeah.
And then someone did it.
Yep.
And then the 6-minute mile was impossible. And then someone did it. So it's like these things are only impossible because we haven't seen them done.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
They're not impossible.
And then the 4-minute mile, right?
Right.
Didn't that happen?
And so on. I don't know, and I don't want to speak out of turn. I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah. So I kept hearing 4-minute mile. Or maybe
4-minute mile.
I mean, that'd be like a sprint. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Who's doing this stuff?
Freaking Usain Bolt. Freaking Sonic the Hedgehog. Freaking The Flash.
I mean, I walk a mile, like a 30-minute mile.
A dog.
Sounds like my speed.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. That's about my speed.
It's true.
What, the 4-minute mile?
Mm-hmm.
Who was it?
Barry
Allen?
According to Google AI, I hate this though, Roger Bannister in 1954.
Wow.
It was first thought impossible, but first achieved. It requires a speed of 15 miles an hour.
Jesus.
I wonder what he ate that morning.
Wow. I don't even want to think about that. That just the strain on the body.
That makes me feel like crap about myself.
No, don't think about it like that.
Congratulations, Roger.
I was thinking about this actually. I've been thinking about this a lot, especially after seeing the video of Dahlia compete. But I was just hanging out the other day, and I was like, what's crazy is like I watch a lot of action sport, and I watch a lot of like crazy people doing crazy things.
Yeah, like Formula One.
Yeah, and I had the thought of like,
crazy.
More or less, you're kind of more or less right. I'm not trying to be inclusive or whatever, but you're given the same tools. Like they're human beings. Like they're not like these people that are doing, backflips and snowboards and motorcycles and like this stuff. And you look at that and you're like, wow, those people are insane. Like, I can't believe they can do that. Or like that 4-minute mile, that's insane. He's a person. He's a human being. Like it's possible.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's not to put anybody down, but it's just, it's like shifting your mindset to think, wow, that person's superior. That person's better than me. No, that's a person. And if he did it, I could do it if I really put my mind to it. And then, of course, there's always exceptions in reality, and there are naturally going to be people who can't do that. But the point is, you can do that. I see what you're saying.
And what's interesting about that, too, is I've never played a sport in my life. I respect people that can do that.
You're pretty good at one, actually. Mario Kart on the GameCube. 20 years ago.
Only on the GameCube, though.
20 years ago.
Which, I can't even get started with that. It was ticking me off. My cousin was here from Germany, and he was obliterating us. And I'm like, I swear to God, I was good at this. I swear I was good at this. And Ryan's like, that was 20 years ago. And that was on a GameCube, which really, I could kill anybody, on Mario Kart on the GameCube.
For the 12 years we've been together, she's always talking about the glory days of when she was so good on the GameCube Mario. I'm like, it was 20 years ago. Let it go. You're not good now.
Oh my gosh. But anyway.
But you can be. That's what we're trying to get at here.
And somebody is good. And that's what matters here.
Yeah.
Shout out to my cousin Toby. I mean, he's really good.
Yeah.
When he plays Morton specifically. But anyway, the interesting thing about people who play sports is they say a lot of that is like they have to learn a lot of like mind power, right? Like they have to learn a lot of that and get into a mindset, which is so interesting because that's where a lot of the strength comes from.
I think there's a difference here. I don't think that a lot of these people who are competing in high performance sports are sitting there like learning about mind stuff. I think that people who are naturally very high level athletes tend to have naturally better abilities with mind stuff.
So I think it's forged.
Like flow state.
And well, yeah, flow state. But I also think that flow state and having a resilient mindset are learned activities. So when you do something difficult, 100 burpees, and you don't quit, you're forming neural pathways that make your mind stronger. So when you're in the process of training for these events, constantly getting hurt, constantly pushing your body to the limits, you're forging mental fortitude.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, mental stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe I shouldn't have said mind, but mental. It's a lot of mental strength to get there. And even when, you know, I'm at my personal trainer and a lot of that is like, it's in your head and you have to get your mindset in the right place in order to do that and to not give up.
Yeah. See, those people aren't being sat down and taught like, you know, psychic tools.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think it's all right that people that are high performance athletes tend to have very high levels of willpower, mental drive and fortitude, determination, like you said.
So you just remind, and I'm gonna stop with the Formula One for this episode after I say this. But there's this clip of this Formula One driver, George Russell, who, in a room with him, a chair, and a camera, sits in a chair with nothing but an empty room, and goes through his mind the entire racetrack. And I think this particular racetrack was Silverstone. But he says out loud, "I'm going at this speed, at this gear, into turn one." Right turn, whatever, next turn, what gear, what speed. And he does the entire track in his car, in his mind. And that's deeply psychic. I mean, that is, it's meditative, it's flow state, and it's manifestation. And so I think these things, all of what we're talking about at Psi Games and all of what we're talking about with this mental fortitude and this high level athletic stuff, I think there's a lot of similarity, but I think the packaging is very different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It just goes to show the power of the noggin.
So, good point. Let's go back to the Psi Games. So, with all that being said, we were the 4-minute mile. Yeah. So Hakim's vision for this was amazing because that's the point. Was he believes that if it was all framed as a competition, that it would create new standards. And year after year, people would show up to break those standards and push the limit. And he especially wanted people to, bring their children to participate as well, because Hakim's day job, one of many, I mean, he has several operations he's got going on in this kind of field. Like now he has the Psi Games, this whole other job. He's got multiple martial arts schools, he has like wilderness retreats. He wears a lot of hats. One of the things that he does on the daily basis is teach children martial arts and teach them the ways of the ninja. So he has like a heart for children and for educating children. So his thinking was, if he got children involved with this and have children learning these abilities early and progressing and developing them, that it would have a ripple effect into future generations, that it would normalize this to be taught to children. You know what I mean? Naturally online, people online. I just said online twice, so I'm going to say it one more time and round out with 4. People online were, because I ended up saying it a third time when I was telling you.
Well, technically 4 is a square.
There you go.
So that's not very rounded.
But then how about I'll say it one more time?
5, yeah.
People online were just, here's the thing. Conspiracies are real, okay? I'm not sitting here with a fluoride stare being like, believe the mainstream media, obey, don't question everything you're told or what you're told. But there's a balance here, and there are some people on the internet, so we don't hit a 6 times saying that word. There are some people on the internet who wear their tinfoil hat so atrociously tight that they just like lose touch with reality, and they think everything is a conspiracy. We are victims of this. Like, there's literally people online. They're like, they're part of the CIA, and they every year they get $2 million from the CIA. And it's like, what? Are you kidding me? I've worked very hard for what I have in my life, and it's like sometimes I read this stuff on the web. And I'm just like, where do these people come up with this crap? And they believe this delusionally, and they just like promote it as true to people. And it's very harmful. So like, I think it's important to know that, yes, question everything. Conspiracies are real. There are bad agendas for humanity. Duh. I'm like very vocal about that. But also, just because you have a suspicion about something doesn't mean that you should go attacking people. And some people were attacking Hakim and accusing him of like trying to like kidnap children for like government secret military psychic training.
It was saying that children, that he specifically wanted children there so that people that were in the government could like spy specifically on these children.
It's like, bro, get out of here. I don't even want to harp on this. My point is like, I just wanted to highlight that what he's doing is incredible. And obviously, it's kind of important to talk about that because I think what he's doing is so groundbreaking and so incredible that it's almost like controversial. Mm-hmm. You know, just the Psi Games in general. Hey, bring your kids, let them compete. People, he's gonna steal my kids. This event is crazy. You know, it's like he's making waves.
Well,
that's a way to frame it.
And I think the funny part too is he told this during the Psi Games as well. Is he's like, you know, like I have the kids that what does he do? Jujitsu? Ninjutsu. And he's like, we have these kids here and now we do psychic stuff during my training. Yeah. And I feel guilty because the kids are like the parents of the children are probably thinking like, are we doing ninjutsu or what are we doing
like, what
here?
Are we paying him for?
But the kids are like really interested and it's apparently like really successful and really working, which is why he was so like fired up and excited about that portion of the event. And so it's just funny how people twist things up sometimes.
So
man.
I just wanted to highlight that my sister was promoting the Psi Games on her TikTok and some of the comments were like really weird. And like some people in the Discord sent me a comment or two like, I don't know, this event looks crazy. And I'm just like, oh, I know this guy. I met him at my brother's son's birthday party and we were eating like crawfish and shrimp in a Louisiana boil and just, you know, hanging out. And he's the nicest, friendliest, but very well trained. So he's not, you know, but
he even brought his own daughter.
No, but anyway, enough about that. I want to move on. I just thought it was actually funny that like he had this amazing event and it was so wonderful. And then there were people who were just like, oh, this is whatever. It was a profound event. So let's get back to the event. So there were 5 games.
We talked about mindset. We talked about dowsing.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'm just gonna go. So there was remote viewing in the morning. That was very cool. Although I will say this is no fault of anyone's. This is completely my personal opinion. And I have maintained this opinion, and I'm pretty sure at some point in the show I've talked about this, or at least to Alex, he and I have talked about this. I'm not very interested in remote viewing because it's so normalized now that I'm just like, cool, like that's awesome. I don't want to sit here and talk about it all day. I don't find it fascinating. I have just accepted since I was a child that this is a very normal, real thing. So it doesn't like necessarily excite me to talk about remote viewing. It's kind of like, you know what I mean?
I think it was cool. Yeah. I think it was cool that it was part of the event and that we could at least just check that box of
but I'm getting there. With all that being said, I thoroughly enjoyed the way that it was done. I thoroughly enjoyed watching the remote viewing and watching them scribble live because we didn't even talk about this. So they were all on a stage and there's like hundreds. This was all live in front of people and it was recorded and people could see it after the fact.
Like 400 people in the audience, I think at a time at least.
Yeah, because there were 600 total at the conference and people were coming and going, but the room was always packed during the games. So there's like 400 people, around 400, 500, something like that people, and watching these games like live. And the contestants, or as they called them, the perceps, were on stage. And they all had their own pods. And it was just like a desk set up with a tablet that they could draw on and write on and like laptops and things like that. And it was all, he bought like 8 TVs, like massive flat screen TVs, and had them all rigged to where it was like huge monitors on the wall. So everybody in the room could read every detail like accurately. I was in the very back right corner of a massive conference room, and I was able to read every word because there was so much professional like display setup going on, and every percept had their own TV. So as they were like jotting down their hits live, we were seeing it projected on the TV. It was really cool. So they're like making sketches because, as you know, with remote viewing, you can draw, you can say, you know, blue, red, mountain, hard, soft, you know what I mean, anything that's coming to you. And they were like rated based on how much detail they provided, and then it was all judged by AI, and I think at a time it was 4 human judges, and they rotated the panel.
But there were different aspects too, where it was like there was a target and you would write down like the qualities of it, physical qualities, and you would sketch it as well. And it was mind-blowing, in my opinion, to see how the sketches kind of resonated, because some of these objects, or like some of the photos that they were remote viewing, like seemed kind of AI in a way. It was all AI. They were so
it was AI.
Abstract. And then there were some people, and keep in mind, these cubbies are like, you can't see anything around you. So they're inside of like a desk, and imagine it's just like, you know, you're in a tiny little cubby thing. And so they couldn't see anything around them. And so they're just literally like drawing things. And you're kind of thinking, what the heck are they drawing? Like that circle there, that line there, what are they doing? What are they trying to show? And then they would write things like nature or green. And you're like, okay, I kind of see where they're going here. And then it would show the picture, and it would be like a very up close photo of tree bark.
Yeah, I thought that one should have won.
Yeah, it did so well. And then there was another one which was mind-blowing, where the perspective, the person even got the perspective of the image, the one where it looked like it was going through a tunnel, and there was like the volcano type explosion in the background. And he had literally portrayed in his, I don't know what you call it, vision, remote viewing body, whatever he was doing. He literally portrayed tunnel and had the arrows kind of going around to where you could understand that he meant the perspective was very strange.
He wrote, woohoo, fun.
Yeah, because it was a very wild photo. Yeah. And I told that guy afterward, I'm like, man, I'm rooting for you. Like, that was awesome.
Well, he ended up winning the remote viewing competition. And he did a good job, but I thought the one with the tree bark was so spot on. I mean, I was like, she won. And she didn't. I was like, what? Because it was just so spot on, and they all did great, but some of them at each game was like, whoa, they're really good. Naturally, this is like cutting edge stuff, so you have to understand that like it's impossible to be perfectly accurate with these kind of things, because it's sort of a new frontier that we're breaking these grounds as a mass collective until Dahlia stepped on the stage, and then Dahlia was 100% with everything. 100%. No error. No hesitation. It was so insane. The room erupted. It was like screaming, cheering. People were freaking out. And it was definitely, I think everyone implicitly knew that that was going to make waves. I know when I got home, within a number of days, I was texting Dahlia like some videos I was seeing online. There were videos on certain social media sites like Twitter. I think it was just Twitter that I saw.
TikTok. Maybe.
Yeah, TikTok. Videos of her, and they were getting like hundreds of thousands of views like right away. So there's like 2 layers here. I think all of the contestants, or the percepts, all of them played an amazing part at breaking ground into uncharted territory here. But then I think Dahlia sort of was the thing that took it to the next level, because for everybody in the room, it was undeniable. And it was so undeniable that people, I'm not going to say who, but people were like, that could be faked. That could be, yeah, really? Why are you here?
She was the viral factor of it all.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what
point.
She was
That's
like,
a good point.
She
was like the Ferrari that drives, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and did she participate in anything else other than Mindsight? I know we're kind of jumping around here.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and why it was so crazy is like we said, everything that she said that she did was mind blowing. I have both of my cats on my lap. If for those who are watching via video,
well, give me one of them.
I can't.
Give me D. Come here, D.
It's a family show here, but But she also did one of her challenges was that Hakim in particular was holding up a variety colored of poster boards. And what this challenge was doing is challenging, okay, I can be 4 feet from you, hold up this poster board. Can you guess what it is? Completely blindfolded. So what they would do is if the perceps were to get it right, is perceps right in this case?
Uh-huh.
Okay. If they were to get it right, then he would back up a few feet, do a different poster, back up a few feet, do a different color. Before he could even raise the poster all the way up, green.
No hesitation.
Or he could even yellow, and we had seen some others get them right, but some others
get several right.
Yeah. And some others kind of struggle with it. So Dahlia had done so good and had exceeded that Hakim stepped off the stage, stepped all the way to the far right of the room.
Double the competition
behind
distance.
the judges' counter, behind the place where all of the contestants sit when they're not on the stage. And she was still boom, 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 nailing it.
Oh, and then we also had Ryan, who I did not have the pleasure of meeting.
Oh, he was awesome.
The guy with the spiky hair. He was a sensation.
He's a bike.
He's like a BMX and a dirt biker.
Yeah.
He was cool.
Amazing energy, though.
Everyone was coming up to me like, you got to meet him. You got to get him on the show. But I was so busy with our kind of like deal that we were doing and our involvement, I didn't get the chance to bump into him, and I sincerely regretted that. But I'm sure we'll meet each other.
He smashed some stuff, and I could have sworn he won a couple categories.
I think he did.
Yeah.
He did. I can't remember. It might have been...
What were the other categories? You know better than me.
There was Mindsight. There was... I don't know the official word they used for this, but it was like telekinesis. That's probably what they used.
I think that was right.
And it was with the Eagly wheel. There was remote viewing, dowsing, and precognition.
Okay. Those are the two we didn't get into.
I can't remember exactly which one he won. It was a very long day, and it was a very long weekend, and I also want to move on to other things. But I just wanted to say the games were very cool. Everybody there was awesome. They were good sports. It was very... I could tell you right now, I would never get up in front of 400 people and try some psychic ability. Hats off to them. I think they all did amazing. They all had class. They all had good attitudes, good backgrounds, and I really liked that there were solos and teams, and they all came from some different institution that taught different things. The Monroe Institute had a team that was very fun. I got to hang out with a lot of my beloved Monroe Institute people.
Oh, the pom-poms over there.
Oh, yeah. Alex, can you grab that? It's the you don't have to rush, man.
It's the only pom-pom that's over there.
Jumped up when I said his name. I appreciate that, man. You're like a race car.
Alex is at your service,
he
dude.
literally ripped his headphones on and jumped up the moment I said his name. So the Monroe Institute has this guy named Jason, who I do intend to get in touch with. He said he'd come on my show, and he's a lovely human being. Alex, you will love him.
We'll find you, Jason.
I've got his number.
Okay. Well, then we'll call you.
We found you, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're toast. No, Jason is really cool. He's a lovely human being, and he's like, I don't know the official title, but I just know what he does. And he's like the technology guy at Monroe. He's kind of like what you do for the podcast. He does all their equipment and so much more than that. I'm not trying to.
He does the merch.
He does that too.
Oh.
He does so much more than that. He wears a lot of hats. He's like one of the people, and like one of the people. You know what I mean? And he's always showing us a good time, and he has a lot of really good ideas. And he showed up with, I don't know if this is able to be read, but it says Team Monroe, and they passed out hundreds of these. So naturally, I had to take little selfies with my Monroe people with Alan. I was waving too when I was on.
He collected a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, she made me throw them away, or give them out rather. We didn't throw them in the trash. I would never.
Listen, I'm very into decluttering right now, but Ryan was like, "Here, take these for our people."
I wanted to give them away,
and so we had
I wanted to give out extras.
And rather than applauding, we were here shaking our Monroe.
Yeah, so like, but I say this not just to brag on the Institute, although I am, trying to brag on the Institute, but I really say it to say, because the spirit in the room was so lively and so high that at every event, there was just like hundreds of these waving around. Everyone was cheering for everyone. Everyone was lovely to everyone. It was a great energy. Oh, we forgot to mention the Phoenix. So the logo of the Psi Games was a phoenix. I think I have it. It's probably on my desk downstairs, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And they created... Alex ripped his headphones off. So they created this... I can't accurately describe. I'm just going to tell you what it does. I don't know how it's made. That's above my pay grade.
He had partnered with like a local company.
Yeah, but even that doesn't really matter because I can't sit here and explain the technicalities of this. I'm just going to tell you what it does. When there are anomalous energy signatures in the room, it would light up. And it used like some sort of antenna to detect signals in the air against an algorithm with like 1 in 25,000 odds of randomness. So I can't understand the science of this. There was a Berkeley engineer there with a similar device that did the exact same thing, but he made it and brought it himself. So there was actually 2 in the room spiking. The Berkeley guy, you know him, David. He was explaining to me how it worked, but I'm not that guy. I'm not an engineer.
Yeah, he's a brilliant dude.
He's very cool.
And yeah,
he'd be a good guest.
He would be. It's
very nice.
It's hard to understand.
It is. It's above my grade. Like I'm not, an engineer from freaking Berkeley, but I know it's real, and I know that it's really cool technology, and it basically is testing for extremely statistically anomalous energy signatures in the room, right? So the way he had this thing crafted was awesome because it wasn't just the device itself, but it was like almost a sculpture. So it was a giant phoenix with light bulbs in it. So when there was energy signatures, the phoenix would glow. And there were many times during the games when people were doing like psychokinesis and other stuff that it would be glowing and everyone was like, oh, or like, for example, my sister closed out the entire weekend with a song from her album that had just launched the week before.
Colors, you can buy it or not buy it, but you can stream it.
Yeah. Colors by Emily Holloway.
On what is that?
Apple Music, Spotify. I think it's on YouTube.
It's called Colors. It's an album.
Beautiful album.
She's my best buddy. I have to plug this a little bit.
She's my sister, so you're overruled.
But the album's amazing. She'll be on at some point soon to talk a little bit about that. But It's a story about her life, essentially, in different colors. And it was very beautiful to hear her sing. And yes, it popped off. Not only lit up. Did it pop off during her performance.
No, it was right before. It was when she was clearing her mind to sing. And then it lit up. And
she let out a smile. And that's whenever it did it. But really quickly, because I was the only one that was there. I was there during her dress rehearsal, which was the night before. Mm-hmm. And that was the even crazier part of this, because when she was performing it, and it was dark in that room at the time. During her performance, it wasn't dark. But during the dress rehearsal, it was a little bit darker. It blew up. Like, it had gotten so bright. And there were only a couple people in the room, the tech guys trying to, just figure out the mic levels and whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, did you see that? Afterwards, they had brought us over to their computer to check out the spike.
Oh, wow.
And it was really cool. And she has it on her TikTok too, Bledsoe Baby. But there's a video on there where she recorded the actual spike in the energy that had gone off right before or right during that specific part of her singing. So it was really cool to see the back end of the technology as well, where it literally had the timestamps for when the Phoenix lit up.
Yeah. I didn't know all that because I wasn't in the room because we were doing a skywatch, and I'm getting to that next. It was a profound concept with the Phoenix being there, because there were many I can't believe we forgot about that and we didn't realize it till about 45 minutes in. But it was just really cool seeing many times throughout the weekend with a crowd of people going kind of nuts when the Phoenix would light up because something weird was going on, and it was like that extra layer of validity. And also because it was a conference, the games were Saturday, but then Friday, and I think even on Sunday and throughout the day on Saturday when the games were on break, there were professional presentations, and Dad did a speech, like kind of what he does at conferences, and it lit up during his, and the room was packed, 300-400 people, something like that. And everyone saw it and was kind of like,
yeah. Well, and he was talking about like because a lot of what we're going to get into the skywatches, and for those who watch know that it is a connection with the mind, which is why it was so interesting to hear your dad talk about that. The heart, right.
Oh, that's what he was talking about. He was talking about the connection of the mind and the heart.
So it was a little different from his usual where he tells the family story. It was like actually, kind of going over and talking about his learnings of like, back whenever this first happened in 2007, we had absolutely no idea what this was, why this was appearing. And now over time, however many years later that it's been, we know that there's a connection with the heart, the mind, the spirit, the soul, the whatever, to connect with these beings. So now the man's on the stage talking to hundreds of people about that connection. And that's, I don't know, I think it's a really nice thing.
The thing that he's been saying lately as of this year that I really love is he was saying, you can't fool the heart, the beings know your heart. And when you make your thoughts synonymous with your heart, it's you guys are killing me here. Alex and Jenny are making little giggles at each other.
Okay, how about when I was just speaking and y'all were doing something with the pom-pom?
Hey, call it out. I'm just saying because you got the glass Starbucks cup. Let's talk about this.
I got this on my honeymoon, everyone, because my bridesmaids' dresses were very similar. Ryan and I had our first date at a Starbucks back in 2013, which I know sounds like, oh, that's so like basic. Well,
who cares?
We lived in Fayetteville. There were no coffee shops, okay? And going to Starbucks was a treat, was it not?
I'm just saying that you drinking from that cup and you and Alex sharing that little giggle was funny to me.
Yeah, we giggle.
And
Alex and I giggle, everybody.
So anyway.
It's out.
So anyway, moving on. Back to where I was.
That's crazy. That ASMR bit is crazy.
Well, I wanted to hold this up for when I go in the end talking about the Monroe Institute in a more serious manner. So I thought you wanted to play with this, which is why I was giving it to you, and I was very upset to see you were putting it away. So I requested it back.
Because he's the audio guy.
We had a miscommunication.
And then of course, you guys are giggling over her drinking from the Starbucks cup. So naturally...
She drank from the cup, and then I could hear it in the microphone.
Sorry,
so I
y'all.
went to turn her volume down so she could continue drinking, and she smiled at me.
Well, because I thought I could hear the gulp too, but I'm like, okay, I can hear myself through the headphones. I can hear myself in my own head.
It's a lot to process doing this.
The monitor's too much.
We're athletes here.
The monitor's too much, I think. It's got to go.
Oh, well.
What do you think?
I'm enjoying it.
It's kind of cool.
Personally
It'll stay.
Let's keep it. No. It's kind of cool.
We do have a monitor in the room where we can see.
I like it.
What's going on when, whatever.
Whatever. It's candid. Anyway, back to where we were. So Dad's like giving this presentation. The Phoenix is lighting up. It was really profound. And I wanted to say, like, I feel very blessed to say that another reason the event was so successful was because the finale, which was the skywatch, on the third night. So on Saturday night, we had a scheduled slot for there to be a skywatch. The weather was terrible. I think there was some drizzle. It wasn't necessarily rain, but it was overcast clouds. And we were like,
totally overcast.
Yeah, I mean,
you couldn't get away with it.
The entire sky was covered. So we were kind of just like, it's probably not going to happen, but we'll go up anyway, as we usually do. Like, we always give it an effort, but it's like internally as a family and all of those that are with us, we're like, ooh.
We knew it wasn't the night.
The balloon is deflated, and we're just like, sure, we'll go. We want people to have a good time. And like, they provided a microphone system for us and everything. And then we get up there. Didn't really see anything. I think some people saw things and they were calling it out, but there was a few hundred people there. And this was, mind you, this was Saturday.
And Chris made it clear too. He told everyone, like, listen, I wouldn't even come outside in my own backyard for weather like this.
And everyone laughed.
And everybody was like kind of in agreement, like, okay, but we're all together and we're just playing the game. We're just doing the thing,
It was just like silent for a minute. And then he kind of was like, I don't even go out on a night like this. Everyone laughed. They got the vibe. They understood that it was just too nasty weather. And we were just like, well, we had a good time. Thank you, everybody. So then what we did was we were just kind of like, we're our own people. We're going to do what we want. We're in a public space. We're just going to go out Sunday night. And whoever wants to join, they can join. And we kind of presented that to the Psi Games. And they were like, that works. And they got on board and they worked with us. And it was like another night that was not ever on the schedule. After the ceremony and everything had ended, and it was so profound. It was the best skywatch that I've ever personally attended, with a group, at least, with a mass group of hundreds of people. I would say there was at least 300. It was a nice crowd. It was up on a parking deck situation outside of what was the hotel called? The Omni. Very nice hotel, by the way. But it was like this parking deck situation where we were on the top floor, so it was like no, I don't know how to explain it.
It wasn't ideal because there was, and everybody joked about it and everyone had high spirits. There was a McDonald's drive-through.
Yeah.
Right across the way there, and a busy street, and then we're in the middle of Charlottesville,
downtown.
Right? Virginia. So it's like we did the best that we could with the space that we had, and we were at the highest point that we could really get to kind of avoid all of that.
Well, the freaking McDonald's, there was people going through the drive-through over and over and over, and many of them had their high beams on, which is like,
and they're on
what
us.
Are you doing? Yeah, and it was like facing us, the high beams. So it was like a lot of times we'd be looking up and then it's zoom, zoom. These lights are just blinding us. So we were doing the best with what we could in a very bad environment. That's not the hotel's fault. That's not the Psi Games fault. That's just the reality that for skywatching and for what we do,
you have to deal with outside.
Yeah. It wasn't the best spot.
I mean, we've been placed under an oak tree before.
Yeah, and I say even all that to say that it was the best skywatch I've ever been to, and it was profound. And with all those distractions and all that noise and all the lights and everything, there was there was at least 60 or 70 beings that appeared in the sky. But the thing is, the way they appeared was so crazy and so profound. And the night before, or the day before rather, was the games, and Dahlia did her thing, and all the percepts did their thing and did this amazing event on stage, and it was so mind-blowing, and everyone kind of inherently knew that there was going to be ripples all over the global consciousness because of this first ever event. And then the next night we had our skywatch with 300 people, and it was like, okay,
the participants are out there too.
Yeah, many of them were, and I'm getting to a special one. I'm not going to go into every orb we saw because that's pointless, and a lot of times orbs look like orbs. But there was like one or two in particular that were so insane towards the very end of the skywatch. So I'll just talk about the one. And we can drop some footage of this in here too, if you don't mind. And it was like, you know how a lot of times we'll see something really crazy with a group and it'll be a streak or a flash or something like that. And it's there for like 5 seconds. Or
we saw something really similar at Contact in the Desert.
This was next level.
Yeah, but it was lasting in the sky during
a minute and a half.
But yeah, no, this I was yelling.
It was a minute and a half. This orb was in the sky for a minute and a half, and it was going in circles and zigzags and like these weird patterns, like kind of darting around stars. Emily was just like, oh, what do I do? So she's like shining her laser at it, so the crowd of hundreds of people can see it and track
follow
it in the sky, because I am so sick of, and I say that lightly, I'm not really upset, I'm just dramatic. I'm so sick of, I'm being real, of being with crowds of hundreds of people and having to scream at the top of my lungs to try to convince everybody which direction to look. That's inefficient.
It's a struggle because nobody knows where north is. Nobody knows where west is.
Well, yeah, if you have 200 or 300 people out in one spot, they're all looking in completely different directions in the sky. And it's like, so I'm yelling at everybody look this way, it's like,
which way?
What's this way? Yeah. And it's so annoying. And I've done that for multiple events. It's not efficient. So many people can miss out on seeing something very crucial because it might appear and disappear in like a moment, so I've just kind of naturally found when I'm going to these conferences, people just hand me a green laser. They're like, I brought this, and I'm like, oh, cool, whatever. And I've sort of found that I appreciate the laser because all I have to do is go bzz, and hundreds of people see, and I don't have to scream. You know what I mean? Maybe I can scream, look, and they see the laser. So I've started bringing lasers.
I just wanted to say, please note too, because we have gotten a little bit of backlash for this, that we are very aware that it is highly illegal to point this at an aircraft.
Yep, my father's a commercial pilot.
We very much understand that. And we don't even touch the orb objects, okay, with this thing. We're very aware.
I do. I don't think
people
are like, how offensive. It's like, really? Why do you think it's appearing?
No, it's not that you're poking at it directly. You're pointing near it. Like, there's not an intention to hit the object with certain things.
Yeah, well, people can be really, I'm not even going to say it. But
just know we're trying our best.
Well, I don't even address stupid comments like that. I don't even care.
Yeah.
Like, it's stupid. You know what I mean? I don't care about that kind of criticism. But we're doing something that no one's ever done.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to tell me how to do it.
Yeah. Pop off, dude. Pop off.
Nobody's going to tell me how to do what I'm doing, period. If I want to use a laser, I'm going to use a laser. If I want to wear, big pink shorts to say I love SpongeBob, then I'm going to wear them. And I don't give a crap what anybody thinks.
Rightfully so,
You know what I mean? If I want to point a laser at an orb, I'm going to point a laser at an orb. Or not. I don't care what people say. I don't, Anyway, yeah, for some stupid reason, people in YouTube comments are like, how dare you point that at an orb? Whatever.
You know how much, well.
You know what I think? I think it's government or it's bots by the government.
You know how long people were like, sorry.
I think it's government or I think it's bots controlled by the government to just every scenario you can imagine. They're constantly just leaving negativity to tear me down and break down my spirit and try to convince me to stop what I'm doing. Every YouTube comment, more or less every Instagram post, Twitter post, everything I ever post online, there's some like really niche and very stupid negative comment to like tear down what I'm doing. So I don't even look at that stuff anymore. It's ridiculous and it's meaningless to me.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say there's been so many times where people's like, why don't you just get a laser? Why don't you just get this? So it's like you can never make people happy.
And then I get the laser and they're like, how dare you point that?
Yeah.
No, you know what it is? It's somebody in the government pushing their glasses up because they're a Pentagon nerd being paid to tear me down. And they're like, how dare you make people aware of it? That's what they're really feeling. How dare you use a good tool to get people's attention on this? So they're just typing hate. That's all it is. It's losers. But anyway, so I found that a laser helped. So we're pointing it, and in the video you'll see this beam, and it's like kind of showing people where it is. And it was so crazy seeing an orb. By the way, it was like kind of V-shaped, and it had wings, and it was very bright. And it was 1.5 minutes. That is a very long time to stare at a supernatural entity. Previously in my life, I had never stared at one entity for 1.5 minutes like that. When I say entity, the orbs are entities. Okay? Go watch episode 183 with my dad. If you're new to the show, you'll understand. It's with my father, Chris Bledsoe. It's called Orbs. And we talk about how the orbs are entities. Some people know them as plasmoids. Some people know them as angels. It doesn't matter. The orbs are the actual entities. We're sitting here for 1.5 minutes with 300 people. There's this freaking entity above our heads. And it's just moving around in strange patterns and making all these shapes. And it was so mind-blowing, dude. I walked back into the hotel. And when I left the elevator and crossed the threshold, it was like, whew, I had to sit down because kind of like earlier at dinner when we were talking about something, I get these moments where my vision blacks out and I hear this ringing in my ears and I get dizzy and I have to sit down. When I walked in the hotel, that happened to me and I was like, something's happening here, y'all. There's some sort of energy present. I felt like we sent between what we did with the skywatch and then the Psi Games and what happened with all the contestants in front of hundreds of people. I just kept having these flashes in my mind of it sending like a huge signal out into the spirit world and broadcasting these huge waves that are going to, have ripples in the collective consciousness. And now going forward, especially, not even just because of that, just this year in general, but especially after that and other events we've been doing, skywatches have all been mind-blowing. Jenny got home last night, stepped out of the car, and saw like 7 orbs in the time I walked out to say hi. It
was nice. There's been so many times where you step out of the car and you look and you're like, where are you at? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was one of those times where I'm like, oh my goodness, there they go. And then I saw plenty get super bright and fade all the way out. And I want to give a shout out to this past weekend. We were, Ryan was doing his sort of final exam for his Monroe Institute outreach trainer thingy. It was a big deal. But so at night we would skywatch with his instructor Jean, who is a fantastic lady, and we were skywatching.
Shout out Jean.
Yeah, absolutely. We were skywatching with her, and in a place where like I'd never even really seen an orb. Like I just was kind of like called to turn around. There's this thing where if you would have looked at it and looked away, you would have thought it was the brightest star in the sky. But what it really did, and it was kind of low above the houses, like in our neighborhood. I won't say it was directly above the houses, but just from our perspective, it went and it was just so bright and it faded out into nothing. And like that is so satisfying to see because you're like, what is that? Like the orbs that just like glide across the sky, cool. But to see
They're the
ones,
normal ones.
Right. To see the ones that just go away into literally nothing, it's like, okay.
We saw some streaks too.
Yeah.
And there was a moment when she was looking to the right and I was looking straight up and there was a streak like 10 or 15 feet over our head and she didn't see it. But there's another thing about the Skywatch I want to talk on or about, whatever. Pick the one you like best there and just pretend I said the right one and not the others.
Those are hard. What are those called?
What?
That grammar term. There's
a
term for those.
I don't know.
The ons and the froms.
Prepositions?
Yeah, those are hard. Those are tough.
I nailed it. See? So what I wanted to talk about was Dahlia and her amazing daughter Lidu and the Skywatch. And I'm not going to talk long on this because I don't think it's necessary. But I just wanted to say that I was so amazed by her and her daughter and the connection that they have and the abilities that they possess. And I say that because they reminded me of my family. They reminded me of a young father struggling to figure out how to break this to his children and how everybody to feel normal and like it makes sense. But it was the reverse. It was Lidu, her child, beginning to have these profound experiences. And her mother having to come to terms with that, as opposed to our dad having experiences and Junior was there too, and then us children finding out about it. It was like the reverse. You know what I mean? It was a family thing, but with them it started with the child as opposed to the parent. So it kind of reminded me of us, just them and their dynamic, and we really hit it off, and there was just such a great resonance between us. And so on the Sunday night, so they came out to the Skywatch on Saturday, and Dahlia was like tired. No. I think it was the other way around. I'm pretty sure Dahlia wanted to go to the one on Saturday, and Lidu was like being kind of hyper and didn't really feel like going to it, but they sort of went anyway because Lidu said, she wanted to see orbs. She's a speller, like you hear about on the telepathy tapes, but Dahlia works with her so much that she can say an impressive amount of words with a lot of concentrated effort.
Wait, I don't want to distract from what you were saying, but can you explain to me what a speller is? Just because I don't know what that is.
Nonverbal autistic children who have a very hard time speaking, normally like we do. So they're trained to use like spelling boards to communicate, or they'll use like an iPad or some sort of device that speaks it out loud, kind of like think Stephen Hawking's or Hawking or whatever.
Okay, so they can write it out.
Well, they point to the letters. Okay. Yeah, they're spellers. They primarily communicate by spelling.
And Lidu had demonstrated that, I think,
Well, no, she didn't demonstrate spelling. She demonstrated reading the guy next to her's mind, and she was spelling the answers.
It out. I missed that part. Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing. She was reading people's minds.
Yeah.
In front of a crowd of hundreds of people. So I really just connected with them, and so all I know is on Saturday they came to the Skywatch and nothing really happened, and I was disappointed by that because I wanted the child to see. So on Sunday, I was like, Dahlia, I was texting her. I was like, please, if you're feeling up to it, come out tonight. I really believe that Lidu will get a message. Because on Friday, when the Psi Games started, Lidu was telling her mother through spelling that she could feel there were many spirits present at the conference, because there's so much more with these children than just reading minds. Mm-hmm. They see entities, they communicate with them, they come to them and speak to them. They see the past, present, the future. There's a lot of things that are going on with these children. And Lidu was indicating that at the Psi Games, there were so many spirits present. Angels communicate to her, stuff like that. But she can't really speak like you and me. So it's like, who knows the extent of what's being communicated to her? It's a lot of effort for her to communicate this. So I was like, Dahlia, please bring her to the Skywatch. I really believe she's going to get a message. And she was tired. She didn't want to go. And Lidu was like, let's go. I'm going to see orbs. She was like, okay. And they kind of rushed down there. And they brought Diane Hennessy Powell, which is the scientist with the telepathy tapes. Like, if you've actually heard the telepathy tapes, she's pretty much the main scientist, you know? Very cool lady.
Yeah, and there's a podcast, and there's supposedly an upcoming documentary. I know you mentioned the documentary earlier, but there is a podcast that was very viral for some time.
Last year, yeah, for sure. Or maybe this year. It might have been this year.
Earlier
I don't
this
know.
year,
I
maybe.
lose track. I'm so disoriented with travel. I think it was this year. Anyway, so actually it was late last year that it started blowing up. I remember now. It was around Christmas because I was talking about it with my friend Brad. And so she brought her, long story short, I don't need to go on all the specifics. I'm saying these details because I'm remembering the story. You know, I'm going from memory here. Lita was at the Skywatch with her mother and with Diane Hennessy Powell. And I walked up to her and I said, and she knew who I was because we would like kind of pass each other all the time. And she would like make silly little, she kind of bonded with us. And she had few little moments with Emily and things like that. So I knew she knew who I was. And I kind of crouched down because there's like hundreds of people around. And I said, Lidu, I really want you to pay attention because I believe that these orbs are going to speak to you. If you hear anything, please tell your mother afterwards. Is that okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? And she said, okay. I was like, great. I'm going to come find your mom afterwards, okay? Just be open. I do think they're going to have a message for you. Dahlia came to me after the Skywatch and said that Lidu told Diane Hennessy Powell and her through spelling after the Skywatch that she did have a message from the beings. And it said, I'm going to struggle with the exact verbatim here because it was told to me by two different people, her mother, Dahlia, and then someone else who was friends with them that heard it the next morning and showed me like a voicemail of her telling her the night before over the phone or something. She didn't tell me directly, you know what I mean? Dahlia told me, and then the other person told me, but Lita didn't tell. I wasn't there when she first got it, you know what I mean? So I'm just telling you the gist of it. But it was something like, we're here to help you evolve. You just have to ask for the right teachings. And I was like, boom, there it is right there. Confirmed from the mouth of a child, that like everything that we're saying, everything that we're doing, and this path that humanity's on, that's just like so much incredible confirmation for me and like a mind-blowing moment where this amazing child who's having so many abilities that I think many people probably have a hard time accepting. Obviously, people at the Psi Games accept it, but many people around the world probably like, what? She doesn't read minds. No, this child is amazing, and she's gifted. And I know she's telepathic, and I have a way of knowing things, too, sometimes when I look at people. And it's a very special child. And Dahlia told me that even the other children involved with the telepathy tapes kind of tell her that she's, like, leading the charge in some way. Like there's a group of these children and they're especially their mothers, they stay in contact and they communicate a lot, and you know what I mean, and they've become really good friends and have a bond over this. And like amongst this group of children, they think that Lidu is sort of like helping them get it forward in a different way. I don't quite understand exactly what they mean, but look at her. She said at the Psi Games. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The other ones aren't there, but she's there. And her mother's on stage doing the mindset thing. So obviously they have some big part to play with this publicly, and they have a very important role. I just thought it was the most amazing, mind-blowing moment that this insanely gifted child who reads people's minds and has like probably 100% of the time constant telepathic communication spoke to these beings. Like something deep in my gut told me that child needs to be there during this. And then we saw that insane freaking thing for a minute and a half. And then Dahlia was like, by the way, she got a message. And then she told me the message. I was just like, oh my God. I walked into the threshold of the hotel from the elevator, right after the skywatch. I had to sit down because it was like I lost my vision and I got dizzy and I started hearing ringing in my ears. I was like, something's going on, y'all. There's a huge energetic shift happening here. It was profound. It was a profound event. There were many, many profound, a lot of lives were changed. Let's just say that. And, I'm very grateful that we had a part to play in that. Dude, the next day on Monday, the whole place was, were you at the skywatch? Were you at the skywatch? People were coming up to me. I wish I was there. I bumped into 5 people this morning and they've all been like, you shouldn't have missed it. People that I know, people that I've, collabed with and things like that just like had something else going on. They come up to me and they're like, dude, I should have went. Oh my God. Like everyone was talking about the skywatch the next day. Everyone. 600 people.
Really cool to have Dolly on the show at some point.
I think so too. I think that would be a great idea. I think that'd be a great idea.
I was going to say too, like for me, a really cool person to see for the first time, and I kind of had to double take, was Joe McMoneagle.
Oh yeah.
He does this thing where he surprises people with his presence a lot. And he's one of the Monroe Institute? Founders? What? Not founders.
I mean, it's complicated. He's
like one of the number one remote viewers out there, alongside John Alexander.
Well,
correct?
He officially he's number 1, number 001.
Yeah. So to see them together in the same exact space, John B. Alexander was also there, and Joe McMoneagle were there. And if anybody knows anything about The Men Who Stare at Goats, it's a movie with George Clooney. George Clooney himself is portraying John B. Alexander and Joe McMoneagle as one person.
Yeah.
And it was really cool to see the both of them there.
I never thought about it like that.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. Yeah. And one thing...
We met George Clooney.
It was weird, right? And then, Joe McMoneagle is married to...
Robert Monroe's stepdaughter.
Yeah, Robert Monroe's stepdaughter. What was her name?
Scooter. Yeah.
And it was really cool to like even see a part of that. It was like witnessing history, and they were definitely like a hot topic there. It was like they couldn't even walk without somebody stopping them, and I'm like, oh my goodness, these poor people just want to sit down.
Yeah, it was insane.
But that was really cool for me too, to just kind of see like, whoa,
special
these guys
mention.
are a big deal.
Also, meeting Tom Campbell was very cool.
Yeah,
very nice guy. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little shocked meeting him, because before I met him, I kept cracking jokes, like, and I was being facetious, but I kept saying, man, I hope I don't blow the meeting, because he was like the one guy that I was actually super excited about meeting, because he's a legend, and I've spent the last year and some change like going through training to be a Monroe Institute instructor, and obviously like he's one of the literal legends that helped found the Institute back in the day, and he was like setting up all the experiments with the early explorers and helping devise all the experimentation methods and stuff. He's one of the pioneers of this alongside Robert Monroe himself. So I was like, ooh, what if I meet him and it's like he has no idea who I am, and I'm just like dust in the wind and I never get to talk to him again. Last time I was driving up to the Monroe Institute, I was listening to his episode on Joe Rogan, and I never really thought that I would have the opportunity to really have any sort of meaningful connection with him. And then I bumped right into him, and my dad's standing beside me. He's like, oh, hey, Chris, I've been looking forward to meeting you. I'm excited for, what we've got going on next month. And I was like, what? You guys know each other? How do you know each other? And apparently they're doing an interview this month together on some show, whether it's Tom's show or someone else's, I'm not sure. But I just was like, my heart kind of skipped a beat. I was like, oh my God, he knows who we are? Mm-hmm. This is insane. And it really was like a sobering moment,
Yeah.
I was making jokes for months, like to people I talked to, like, I hope I don't blow it meeting Tom Campbell. And he literally walked right up and he was like, hey, Chris, good to meet you. I've been looking forward to meeting you. It was just a really cool moment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Very nice guy.
Yeah.
Very, very nice guy. And then I guess the last thing I really wanted to talk about, and if I've forgotten anything, feel free to cut in, before we close out. Mm-hmm. But the last thing I wanted to talk about, that's pretty much the highlights of the Psi Games stuff as far as I I mean, it's been about a month, but I've been traveling. So,
well, I do want to say shout out to all the Omis that were there too.
Absolutely.
It was really surprising.
How dare I forget?
It's fine. You have me. But there were some people where I was like, oh my gosh, you're here and you're here and you're here. I had no idea you were going to be here. And it was very sweet because collectively, a few of them had gotten us kind of a present. It was like a stained glass window, like a pretty little, what is it called? What is it? Sunbeam thing?
Yeah, it was like like a sun catcher.
Yeah, and it was basically an orb with wings. And it was like very meaningful because it was very similar to what we had seen the night before. And it was just very sweet. And it just like, it was another one of those moments where you just feel like overwhelmed with gratitude of like, wow, like not only is it cool because, you know, you're here to see us and to see these cool things, but you're here to like hang out with each other. And it's very sweet to see all of these new relationships that have just started to blossom over this little thing that we started like 4 years ago. And so, yeah, it was a proud moment, I think.
It's surreal. It is very surreal seeing, especially like repeat offenders. People who you see in California and then you see them in Wisconsin or you know, vice versa, because we did Wisconsin first. And then you see them in Virginia and then they're in Wilmington. It's like, you're incredible. You know what I mean? Like, we're bumping into so many of these same people and more, and there's always more every time. So it's very cool. It's like this community is forming around us of really cool people that are pushing us forward, and that is a very important part to mention. So thank you.
Yeah.
And because I was trying to focus on the actual event itself and like the people there, so it can't go without mentioning the Omis, and that was very cool. And I think there was really great Omi representation. I will say that I think we might have to have an Omi team next year.
What? At the Psi Games?
I think so. Yep. Team Bledsoe Said So.
If that's okay. I mean, I
of course
don't know the
okay.
logistics of that.
It's okay. We're already talking about it in the Discord.
Approved.
Yeah, I think so.
I'll start making some jerseys.
Yeah, well, I'm not... I don't know about jerseys, and because I wanted to talk about that because the Monroe Institute has that cornered, and I don't know why I didn't wear my Monroe Institute shirt. It's dirty. I traveled and wore it last week. I flopped. I know.
But I don't think those were technically jerseys. Those were like athletic
it was for the team.
Looking. Oh, they did have numbers on
They were
kind of
like baseball teams, yeah, or tees.
We'll figure out our thing.
No, I don't want to make jerseys. I want to make drip. I want to. We'll talk about that later. I don't want to say too much because what if something crazy happens and we don't have the opportunity to do this? All I'm saying is I intend to have a Bledsoe Said So team at the Psi Games. I think that would be really cool. Let's hope that works out, and I'll leave it there so I don't.
We're dreamers.
We're
doers.
I don't want to pigeonhole myself and then something happen and I'm like got all these grand ideas like Willy Wonka and I'm like Uncle Joe not getting out of the bed. You know what I mean?
Uncle Joe.
So isn't that his name? The guy from Willy Wonka? The guy
I'm pretty sure you're right.
Yeah, it's Uncle Joe.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And I have an
went
Uncle
over
Joe.
my head.
Yeah, so I wanted to talk about the Monroe Institute one last time before we close out. The Monroe Institute showed up in stride at the Psi Games, and they had these sick bomber jackets, and they had these incredible shirts, which I should have worn mine because they let me have one because they obviously know that I'm like becoming a trainer. And they had an amazing booth. And they were doing sound exercises throughout the weekend. Like they had a room in the back of the resort for meditation experiences for people, which I didn't get to participate in, but I was like, it's okay. I've got a lot going on, you know? And I truly appreciated the level of involvement that they had there because I sort of like how I always told Hakim. I even said it on his episode when he was here. I was like, dude, you're so cool. I feel like not enough people know about you. You need to get out there more. Not because you're not doing enough, you're not working hard enough. I just believe you deserve to have more people know about you. I feel the same way about the Monroe Institute. But the thing is, the Monroe Institute is blowing up more than ever. They are booked through 2026 with Gateway. They're very viral and all that good stuff. But I feel that they deserve more love in like the conference space, and people should be bending over backwards to have them there as like a royal guest. Places like, and I'll just name a few that I've been to. Contact Modalities, Contact in the Desert, and others that I don't know, that it's like, I'm just naming the few that I've ever been to. For example, these people should be like, Monroe, I'll roll out the red carpet for you. And other places. That's the treatment that I believe that they deserve. And Hakim gave them that treatment. It was like they're a very honored participant in this event, because I hold them in a very high regard. So it's very cool to see.
Well, Bob Monroe was on the back of all of the
Yeah, I think it's up there.
Bob Monroe was essentially all of their lanyards that they give out from year to year are going to, they're designed as player cards so that they're collectible over the years. And the person that was on the back this time was Bob Monroe. And a quote from him, I believe.
I don't think this is very visible.
There, you can see it, yeah.
I know it's probably backwards too because of the camera. It says speaker, commentator, Psi Games. Right. Oh, cool. And then on the back, I'm just going to read it first. The greatest illusion is that mankind has limitations. And it's like a collector's card with Robert Monroe.
There he is,
Alex is going to show
color.
it closer. So, and naturally, I'm just saying my opinion here that, yeah, that looks good.
No, it's blurry.
Well, I mean, you can see that it's Robert Monroe's face at least. I already read it. You know what I mean? And you see the phoenix there. So the sculpture they had with the random signal detector looked like that, but it was massive. It was like life size, and it glowed like pink and purple when there were random signals.
There we go. Yes, Alex.
Signals. Anyway, I really appreciated that about the Psi Games, that the Monroe Institute had massive representation, and their team was awesome, and it was just really cool being there with them in an official capacity with like the Bledsoe family and the Monroe Institute working the same event for the first time out in the public. It was kind of a surreal moment for me because I knew in like 3 weeks I was certifying. You know what I mean? So very cool doing that there with them. I very much enjoyed getting to introduce my wife and my siblings and my dad and people on my crew to some of the amazing people at Monroe that I've gotten to meet in just a couple of the times that I've gone there, and that I've had to like collaborate with to do certain things, like the private gateway we did with Omis. You know what I mean? So anyway,
I will say a lot of public figures do know about the Monroe Institute. Like
as they should.
Emily went to a creator gateway earlier this summer, and she was there, and I hope it's okay that I say this, with Dan Aykroyd's daughter. It's like, the Ghostbusters daughter. And she was like, it was actually really cool. And we resonated so well with each other because her dad is like a Ghostbuster and my dad is like this UFO orb guy. And it was just like a really funny thing, but I'm so glad it's growing. Yeah. I'm so glad that it's growing.
And it deserves that. And I believe that part of my role is that too. Not that I can, make it bigger than it is or anything like that, but like a part of what I'm doing naturally with my position as an outreach trainer is wanting to get it out there more and like talk about it more and sort of represent it more. So I wanted to say, I'm not sure when this episode comes out. It's probably like mid to late September. So at this point in recording on September 3rd, I literally just finished my certification like 3 days ago. And I still have to get a lot of things together logistically to start actually running in-person retreats. Excuse me.
Excuse you, buddy.
Thank you. That's very courteous. So I'm going to start really ramping that up like now. I literally spent like 3 or 4 hours today hyper-focused, just like creating new emails and like getting all this stuff together because I really am like excited to start doing this. So,
he's a MacBook lover.
I just got a new Mac for this. I'm like, yeah, because I got to be able to.
He's never had one before.
It's exciting. It's fun, like getting all my equipment and getting ready to, get this going. So I think as of now, I mean, it's September 3rd. You know how we do it. We record, episodes weeks in advance, sometimes months. If we're traveling a lot, we have to kind of have a buffer. I don't know at this point when my first retreat will be, but my idea is late September or sometime in October. So if this comes out like in late September and you see that my first retreat's in October, I probably realized, it takes a lot more to plan this than I thought. and, needed to push it out a little bit. Or I might already have it posted when the date is. I don't know. But
not to be like meta here, but this will come out on September 17th.
Oh, that's sooner than I thought.
So if you're listening to this, it's likely September 17th or later, unless you're an OMI and you're a member of our Patreon, which you get episodes a little bit early. So September 17th is the day.
But thanks, because I thought we were farther out than that. So this will come out middle of the month. Maybe I'll have posted when they're going to be, maybe not. But my point is I'm going to start doing them really soon. And I'm going to get to the point to where I'm beginning to do them more regularly. And I'm just like very excited to start doing this with people and actually working with people. Because it never was enough for me just doing the podcast and just talking to a camera in a room with two other guys, or in this case, a guy and then my wife who's joining us for this episode. I enjoy doing this with you guys, and it's very fulfilling and it's rewarding. But in my heart, I never felt it was enough to make a difference. I think this is only half of the equation. I think the podcast is extremely important, and I'm going to continue to do this without a doubt. Like, this fulfills me for me, and it's educational for people. People enjoy it. It's just like kind of become this thing that's living and breathing. But in the back of my mind, it always kind of was like, but I'm not reaching people enough. I want to do something deeper. I want to impact people in a way that helps them to realize so much more about themselves and about, the world and reality. So I'm looking forward to not only continuing to do the podcast and going forward and just like doubling down and committing to our passion and enjoying the ride, but also being able to invite people to engage with me directly and actually put them through genuine Monroe Institute programs and help them learn very valuable consciousness tools that come from a system that has been perfected for, almost 50 years now, from the most prestigious institute based on the studies of consciousness in the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going over my head how lucky I am to have found myself in this position. You know what I mean? There's like 100 trainers in the world. Like what I do, and residential trainers that, live there weeks on and off at a time. There's like 100 of us in the world. So at some point along the way, I'm just pinching myself. I'm like, what is happening? You know what I mean? And I'm just I'm going forward. Very excited about that. So Team Monroe, and something I kept telling the people and teasing them and like making them laugh and smile when we were supposed to be quiet, or like they're just like talking about something random. Like for Ignacio, for example, I would just hop up in his face. You know what I do? I'll just kind of get in people's face and do something goofy, and they just like, how do I react to that but laugh? And I would just start waving these, and I had two of them, and I'd be like MONROE, like a cheerleader, because we were at a sports competition and everybody was like, they just couldn't help but laugh. I was Monroe's cheerleader, even though I wasn't supposed to have an opinion, because I was a commentator professionally. But then
it was grand.
But
It was grand.
It was grand, right? Because I wasn't supposed to have an opinion. But then I would come off the stage when like none of the the people working there were listening, and I would be like MONROE just to hype them up, and it was really fun. So Team Monroe Institute,
Congrats.
Thank you very much. And you have supported me along the way, and I appreciate that. Alex has always pushed me forward. He sacrificed his Saturn return to be one of my very first participants. And then we have my brother and Jackie. Very successful retreat. It was very fun. And I am looking forward to doing more of them with you, the Omis. Yes, I will be doing in-person and eventually virtual retreats. And I intend to do a combination of both. So I think I've said enough about that. Because
I feel like Alex needs to layer like you from Soulja Boy on top of that.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
Maybe not.
Did nobody else hear that?
I mean, I hear it, but...
Alex, what's your opinion?
Y'all are making me do a lot of work this episode.
Hey, I mean,
well, we would get striked for copyright anyway.
exactly.
But just know that that's where my mind went, and if your mind went there too, that's okay, and we resonate with one another.
Wow. Any words? I feel like I'm ready to close it out.
Did I just ruin that? I'm sorry.
No, you didn't ruin that. I feel like I've talked a lot, and I'm like, oh my God, it's an hour
I
and a
know,
half.
my back hurts. How do y'all sit in these chairs?
You know, experience.
Yeah, your back's already messed all to heck.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, yeah, I enjoyed the Psi Games. Shout out to Monroe. Shout out to Ryan. Shout out to Alex. Delilah's been hanging here tough with us the whole episode. My cat. Shout out to her. Shout out to me.
Yeah, shout out to you. We ready to wrap it?
I'm ready.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye, guys.
You're not gonna do it with us, Alex?
Alex.
Bye,
Bye, guys.